coach done and in? Sorry.
Like 127 other head coaches, this is the greatest class that we've ever had. No, I'm not going to fill it with cliches. Good class, good players, great families. Feel really good about the type of kids that we're getting, quite honestly, just in a short amount of time. Some of them shorter than others. Some of them have been committed for quite a while, but really feel very good in terms of the foundation of the kids that are coming in. Winning programs, winning values, and then also at the end able to get some guys that are actually going to be able to help us on the field.
If you don't mind, I'm just going to hit on a few from your class.
Yeah.
David Anini, the linebacker from Mansfield. I believe I'm saying that right.
Right.
Thoughts on him? Obviously, that was a guy that was a late addition and a guy that seems like a pretty quality guy. Role you expect him in when he gets here maybe to start out at?
The role that he'll be in will be that outside linebacker position that Tyus Bowser played. It's what we call the buck position. The thing about David is he's one of those guys that even in the world of Twitter, in the social media world, sometimes guys can not necessarily fly under the radar, but maybe you got to go find him. And he's not a big Twitter guy, so he's not a guy who's going to shoot his video out to everybody. His mother and father live in Nigeria. He lives with his aunt and uncle who have 4 children of their own. So he's not going to 5,000 camps where guys who run internet services can write up about him. So you have to go to the high school there. You have to speak to Coach Brown at Timberview. You have to stay there at practice and be committed to get an evaluation on him. But he's a 6'2.5", 225-pound outside linebacker that runs 10.7, 10.8. An exceptional athlete. He's going to give us some versatility in some of our second down and long, third down packages where we can stand him up, put him into coverage, or put him off the edge. Just in a great person. Again, I mean, a look you in the eye kind of guy and somebody that we want to continue to build our program with.
And obviously another big one you guys got late, Brian Jones from Louisiana, the defensive end, very well thought of. Same thing on him. What was the process like with him, and what do you come away thinking you get with a player like him coming in the program?
Well, from an offensive coach's standpoint, last year I see this name on the board, and I'm partial because I see Baton Rouge, Louisiana next to it, and I keep hearing positive things from Coach Giles in terms of, yes, he has interest. He's still kind of committed to Ole Miss. He might be decommitting from Ole Miss. So just kind of paying attention to those conversations, but not directly involved in his recruiting the way Oscar Giles was. When Oscar left, started talking to the kid actually on the phone and having conversations with him and really enjoyed talking to Brian. We chop it up about a lot of different things and have a good time talking. And what I realized soon, right off the bat, was he really has enjoyed his time at Houston. And when he's come down to watch ball games and spending time with our players, and as much as you'd like to think, hey, it's me, it's what I say, I'm a great recruiter, I'm so good. It's really about your players. It's about how they are ambassadors for the program and how they sell the program and how they make other prospective student athletes feel comfortable in the environment. And he brought a lot of his family down for the official visit, and I thought that was a great sign. If you're bringing a lot of family members down for an official visit, then this might be where you want to end up. And great people, and I know what kind of ball he plays. I know how important football is to him, so I'm happy he's a part of this class.
You called it a father-son relationship. Did you play the hometown card? Or?
No, I didn't play the hometown card. And one thing I know about Brian is sometimes he's having fun with y'all when y'all don't know it. I think he was the father-son stuff's tongue-in-cheek, and he's got a great sense of humor, but he likes to get after quarterbacks, and he's happy to be a Coug and be around these guys.
A little bit of a sleeper with an interesting story. DJ Small from Dickinson. He's got a unique story about the path that he took to get here. Obviously playing basketball the first few years of high school. Only played varsity level football 1 year in high school. What do you guys think you're getting with him, and what kind of upside, obviously, do you guys see with him with just his raw skills?
Productive, for not having a tremendous amount of experience on the field. Very productive and great instincts. He's got great instincts for the game. He understands, run fits, leverage. He's got great eyes. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but we've won games with guys like Trayvon Stewart who are 5'7", and at the end of the day, this is not going to be the difference in a football player, and we all know that. But I'm going to say it anyway. He comes from a great family, comes from a great program. That gives him a bigger shot than a lot of guys already out there, and he's done a great job in that 1 year of being productive with what he's asked to do. And he's a guy that we need at a position where there isn't much depth. We've had one graduate, we had one go to the NFL last year, and we had one come out for the NFL this year. So needed some depth at that position.
Major Elijah Gooden, real productive running back career there. I think he played both sides. Is he projected as an inside linebacker here, and how do you see him making that transition?
I think with all of those guys, inside, outside linebacker, it's going to be kind of where their body goes. Again, you're going to get tired of hearing these cliches, but when you sit in when you sit in the home, you watch the Cowboys-Packers game with Eric and Sheila, and you have dinner with him, and you see his aunts over there, his grandmother's there, and you just see the people that are in the room. You just look around and say, if the apple doesn't fall far from the tree here, we got us a great kid, a great player too. And he's one of those guys that is a relentless worker, has extreme confidence in himself. He's not a cocky guy, but a quiet confidence about himself that, whatever you ask me to do, I'm gonna be good at it, and I'm gonna do it well. We'll have to see where he comes in and where he can help fastest. I mean, he's got great athleticism. Again, like you said, I mean, he's returned kicks, played running back, played linebacker, played off the edge, outside linebacker. He can play a lot of different positions for us, and he's the kind of guy that, Coach, where can I play the fastest? Where can I play the fastest? What do I need to know? Just give it to me and let me go. So excited to have him on the defensive side of the ball.
Now that it's come to a close and everybody's in the books, do you have an opportunity, or have you had an opportunity yet to look back and kind of maybe have that deep exhale? You guys, the staff, went through a pretty rough time during the transition where there was just a few of you guys, and you guys kind of put as many as you could together out on the road recruiting guys, trying to get them to stick. Is it a point, have you got to that point now that it's over, you're at the finish line, where you're able to look back and appreciate maybe a few of those guys early in the class you guys were able to hold on to through the process there?
Yeah. I mean, that's the main thing. Going back around the last week or two, going into homes and talking to players, especially the ones who've been committed for a long time, is telling them thank you. And tell them that you appreciate them, you appreciate their family, you appreciate their loyalty to their class. There's a lot of things that can get flashed in front of you at the last second, and you can fall for it sometimes. And usually what you felt good about for a long time is something that you want to continue to stay with. And, I just appreciate those guys. There's a lot of things you learn as a coach, and going forward there'll be some policies and things like that we'll institute in terms of commitments and what a commitment really means. I know one thing right now is if you're committed to Houston, you're not visiting somewhere else the last weekend. Because sometimes the truth, however you want to say it, the truth turns out a different way, regardless of what you're saying. So in order to protect ourselves, I mean, there's just certain things that you learn as a coach, and you learn going forward and say, hey, I'm not going to do that from game 1 to game 2. And that's just one thing that I know going into next year, if you're committed, you're not still dating the last weekend. So there's things that we can do and get better and from that phase.
Major, is it Stewart? Is that how you say it?
Stewart, yeah.
I don't know if you see too many linebackers that also do what he does on returns. Is that just athletics?
Oh, you're talking about Dalton.
I'm sorry, Dalton.
Ahmad Willis Dalton, yep.
Just what he can do, and is he, aside from also playing the position, is he going to be a candidate to come in and work with your return team?
If he can do it at this level, absolutely. He did a great job for Coach Johnson at Cy Ranch. The thing about him is he was extremely highly recruited, very highly recruited, and kind of waited around in the process and didn't know early on he was one of those guys we didn't even mess with. We're like, we're not going to get to that guy. There's no way we're going to get to him. And as the recruiting process played itself out, November and December, we said, hey, we might have a shot at this guy. He might want to hang around here. So met with him, met with his mom, and he's a very quiet young man, but he doesn't play that way. And anytime you turn on a linebacker's highlight tape and the first 2 plays are him returning a kickoff for a touchdown, you've got a guy who can run. And that's really more or less the theme for us defensively this year, is continue to stay fast. A lot of these guys are 10-7, 10-8, 10-6 guys in the 100, and we want to continue to stay fast. We're going to be physical, we're going to be tough, we're going to coach them to be smart, and those are all things that you can do as a coach, but you can't teach fast. And so we've got to make sure that we continue to put that up at the front, not at the very front, but up at the front of what we want from our prospects.
You had mentioned before that number-wise, you weren't just going to sign guys to sign them. You can pat yourself on the back and say, we got 25.
Right.
With the numbers that you had at positions, did you feel like you filled the needs that you had. I guess what you have one offensive line
Right.
signing, but you have several. I mean, it didn't look like you were hurting too much, but otherwise, did you feel
Right. We've got four numbers left if we want to use them all, and we're definitely going to go after a corner, and we're definitely going to go after an offensive lineman. Regardless of, because we've got some flexibility with the guys that are here. So if we need to move a tackle to center, or we need to move a center guard to a tackle spot, best available offensive lineman, best available, preferably experienced corner who's played college football and started games, so maybe a fifth-year guy to kind of gap fill going into the 2018 season. And I'm always going to be upfront and honest with you guys. That's our business, that's our plans, but that's what we're going to do. And then you always at this place, because there's so many kids that leave the city of Houston to go to different schools, and for whatever reason, there's always a Chance Allen, a Duke Catalan, a Rashad Samples, even though he was from Dallas. There's always a guy that comes back that you want to have a bounce back plan for guys that come back to the city and they want to come back to where they played high school ball.
the last 10 days, Major? I think you got 8 or 9 of your commitments. And most of them were on, I think all but one were on the defensive side. Was that, you don't take it that far to the end, but was that kind of the mad dash there to, you finally had your guys coming in for visits and stuff? Were you able to make those kind of moves?
Can you, what exactly asking?
I'm just asking the fact that a lot of these guys came in the 11th hour. I mean, is that just kind of a matter of who was coming in for visits, or you guys just made that last big push?
Well, you've got initially, right when you go into the position, regardless of what everybody tells you, Coach, I'm a Coug. Yeah, right. I've done this before. You're lying. You don't know you're lying to me, but you're lying to me, and you're going to. So what you've got to immediately do is you've got to find 2, 3, and 4 right behind them. And then some of them are going to stay strong and some of them are going to crack. And so you've got to build depth behind that. You've got to constantly continue to recruit. Because what you don't want to do is say, hey, I'm not going to recruit 2, 3, and 4. And then when one jumps off, you have to immediately go to 5. And so you've got to build a list, build a roster. And, even though Bryson Smith has said, hey, I'm down from the get-go, you're still looking at, hey, here's a potential quarterback if something happens. And he's been great and has told me a long time ago, Coach, chill out. I'm good. I'm not going anywhere. But as a coach, you've always got to be ready for the backside blitz. So you got to make sure that you've got a plan and you're ready to go on that.
You touched on Bryson Smith. That's what I was going to touch on as well. The parallels between him and Greg Ward are limitless. Same school, same. They're very close as well. Same coach, I believe, as when Greg was there. What's it like to get that continuity, so to speak, into the system? The guy, what he's coming from. What's it feel like getting another guy that potentially could have that same? Not to put too much on the kid's shoulders, obviously, on signing day, but he's got a lot of upside. But what's it feel like to get that in the program for the future? Well,
just to continue the pipeline there at John Tyler. I mean, it seems like everybody that we've gotten from John Tyler has been an all-conference player for us or better. So I would expect nothing different than what we're expecting from Bryson. So I am going to put pressure on him because I think he can be really good. Competitive pride, that guy's an extreme competitor, whether it's in track, in basketball, or in football. Tremendous pride in what he does as an athlete. The type of family that he comes from. His mom, Diane, does an outstanding job with him and all of her children, but just it when you see it. You know it when you see it. There's not a definition. It's just I know that. I know that family's for real. They're good people, and they work hard, and they have a pride about themselves. And that's really what you see in that community in general. When you go to John Tyler, it's just very prideful. They're prideful people about their football program, their basketball program, their athletics in general. And Coach Holmes does a great job of kind of fostering that environment. And Bryson's what you need, in my opinion. Offensive football nowadays, I mean, the guys like myself, they don't last very long. You've got to be able to get out of a bad play. If that guy upstairs calls a bad play, I need to be able to do something to improvise. And that's what Greg provided us as an offense. It's what Bryson provided, John Tyler, and he'll continue to grow and develop underneath Brian and the offense. Brian's done a great job with quarterbacks. So I know that relationship's already headed in the right direction, and it was seamless. It was really cool to see that happen and everybody happy and everybody comfortable about it.
Major, back on Brian Jones, typically on the lines, you depending on a kid's maturity and size, you tend to redshirt them. But is he a guy that you could envision, coming in like Ed did last year and playing? And if so, is he more on the edge or kind of where Cam Malvo was, that kind of position?
Right. Yeah, more of a 4-eye, so playing more inside edge of the tackle than Ed, although Ed played that at times. You know, how well you play and how soon you play, and I'm not trying to just throw some coach's cliche at you, but it's the reality of it is that's up to you. That's up to you. What you do from February 2nd, 4th, all the way to, from February 2nd all the way forward to June 5th when you have to show up here for summer school is going to be a huge indication of how much you play. You're not going to get ready to play 12-game season in 2 months. I love Rod Grace. He's an outstanding strength coach, but in 8 weeks, he's not going to turn you into a 12-week competitor, so that can play in this league and help us win championships. So you have to do a lot of stuff in February, March, April, and May on your own. Be in touch with the strength coaches. Make sure you're preparing your body so you can make that last step in June and July. Yes, you're going to get physically stronger and faster, but that's where you really learn what you need to do as a football player. So when August comes around, your body's in shape, your mind's in shape. Now go take that guy's job. And that's what I tell all these guys. If you're good enough, you're old enough. And being good enough is, guess who that's up to? It's up to you, because the way I look at it, out of these next 6 months, I'm only going to be here 2 of them. So 4 of them are going to be on you, as a coach. So you're going to have to prepare yourself. Be disciplined, be mature, grow up.
Major, what's next for the staff? Obviously, you guys came together pretty quick, and guys probably aren't even fully moved into offices or homes and all that personal situation. But
right.
What's next for the staff? Obviously, I know you guys turned the page to the next class pretty quick as well.
Right.
But what's next as far as getting ready for spring? Do you guys have any
we've got just coming down the pipe. We've got a junior day this Saturday where we'll host 2018, 2019 prospects. Then next week we begin our 4-week off-season training, where a couple days a week we'll have winner loser days where we have all kind of competitions and fun drills and things like that in the morning. And then on Wednesdays we do a series of mat drills, which is kind of a discipline exercise. It's fatiguing, but it's also a discipline deal. So we'll do that over the next 4 weeks, and then we'll start into spring ball on March 6th. We'll get 3 practices in before the break, and then we'll come back and get the remaining 12, and then finish up the spring game on the 15th of April.
Major, I don't know how much you can say on this, but the Patriots practicing here, using your facilities, good exposure, and I believe part of the deal was the NFL laid down a new field back there. Is that just the benefits of hosting and then getting some of the rewards after everybody packs up and leaves?
Yeah, I mean I think it's really cool for the guys and for us as coaches too to be able to run into some of those guys. Granted they're here on a business trip. They're not here to share ideas, but just little things you can pick up as a department, as an athletic program, about the way they do things, or even from an equipment standpoint or training room standpoint. It's also cool for our guys to kind of see the mentality of a pro. I mean, we're not able to go down into their meetings and into the locker room with them or into the weight room with them, but you can kind of see what these guys are doing in some of their training room habits and some of their workout habits. And it's good for these guys to be able – you hear about what a pro looks like, but you don't see it on a daily basis. But when you have a chance to see them in the building, you're like, okay, that's what a pro is. What time are they practicing? 1 o'clock. All right, well, why is that guy showing up at 9:30? Because he's a pro. That's why. Because he's a pro and he takes his job seriously. So there's certain things that you pick up like that. And then obviously one of the great benefits is the NFL putting in that field. I mean, that's an NFL quality field that our guys are going to be able to use this spring. And, and that's a tremendous, it's a freebie right there. I'm sure Hunter Yurichek's excited about that.
Any other personnel stuff heading into the spring that you're prepared to share, or just guys like Rashad Samples? Has anything been decided on him?
Rashad's not going to play next year.
He will not play.
No, Rashad's, that's just what's best for him health-wise, and it's what's best for him down the line to have a quality of life. And, he's a great young man who's in our Bauer School of Business, and he's going to focus on getting his degree, and he's done an outstanding job with Coach Wyatt and helping him. And whether he wants to be a part of the team in a coaching role or not is up to him. He's on scholarship. We honor that as a program, so he's going to, finish up academically. All good? All right, thank y'all. Y'all have a good rest of the week.